talk show, or music talk show, I should say, at least as far as I know, that's live, that also lets you, the viewer, either call in on our hotline, which I'll give you that number in just a minute, or you can request to be clicked in via here on Instagram. And the way you need to do that is once we start the conversations and you see people joining in, you'll have to scroll back up to the top of the chat and hit request. And if you do that, we might just click you in to let you voice your opinion. The number for tonight to call in, if you decide to call in, my co-producer over here will pick up. And that number is 267-225-8804. Again, that's 267-225-8804. As you can see, I'm joined by all my friends around here. And I am actually really speaking to you from my basement, like legitimately from my basement. And as you can see, I'm sporting the Wayne's World hat to kind of go along with the theme, because this is a basically zero budget show. We are doing this for fun, and you might say, why the hell do we need another online show to tune into right now? Because everyone has Zoom fatigue, including myself, and there's a lot of just online everything happening. Well, we just figured that this was the perfect time, because you guys have been being talked at for quite some time, whether it was through TV or Zoom or whatever it is. So this gives you the chance for us to actually talk to you. And this show wasn't something that we just came up with in the last 8 months. Believe it or not, this is something that me and the TSI team came up with about 4 years ago. And you know how things go. You come up with ideas, you actually even buy gear to make it happen, and then you just don't do it. So that's kind of what happened. And now that we have been sitting around for the last 8-9 months, it was like, well, let's just give it a try and see if anyone cares. And we'll keep it going as long as anybody wants to watch. So, oh, I should mention that tonight you'll see that there is a live fundraiser going on for Music Cares. It's something that's near and dear to me. I know people personally that have had them help them out in tough times, whether it was hurricanes, falling on hard times, or whatever it is for anyone that works in the music industry. So there's a button there where you can click. It's pretty simple. Just click to donate anytime during this show. All right. And one other thing I'm going to mention that is also super important, and I almost hate that we have to mention this, but I've got to say it. In these strange times, everyone is hurting right now. You don't know what people's situations are. So if you call in, we do have a zero tolerance policy for any type of hate talk. So yes, we want you to have an opinion about music and other things, and that totally makes sense. But we don't want you to have any hate speech. And let me tell you, me as the host or any other host of this show has the authority to click your ass out of the show in a heartbeat. So, you know what? Let's just keep it real, but keep it nice. And let's have some fun, because I think everybody kind of needs that right now. So let's grab a beverage. I've got one. Good old Miller High Life here. Grab a beverage. And with all that being said, at the end of the day, if no one cares about this show, no one's going to watch. And I think a lot of people, again, are talking at people and not really hearing what people want to see or listen to today. So I'm going to ask to take the first caller or first person to join in at the very beginning of the show, before you even see what the content really is, and just say, what would you want from a live music talk show that's discussing current events, where you have the opportunity in live time to kind of join in and voice your opinion. So if anybody wants to chime in on that, scroll up and hit the request to chat, and we'll try and invite you in. Or you can call the hotline, which again, I'm reading off of a piece of paper here, is 267-225-8804. Alrighty. And some of you might be wondering, asses and seats, where did the name come from? Well, for those of you that are fans and not industry buffs watching, asses in seats is an entertainment wide term that's used for basically selling tickets to live shows, no matter if it's theater or it's concerts, basically filling those arenas and putting asses in seats. So we thought, what better way to describe a talk show today when right now we're all just a bunch of asses in seats sitting around with nothing to do, voicing our opinions like anyone cares. So just a little backbone there on why we chose this name. Again, is anybody wanting to chime in on what they hope this show would be or why they would maybe even continue to watch? Please ask to request to join or give us a ring on that hotline. Alrighty, so we have some guests tonight. My first guest is going to be the amazing, talented vocalist Carol Riddick. And my second guest is going to be 20-year music industry veteran Jesse Lundy. I happen to know both of these people personally, so I'm super excited to have them on and have a fun, somewhat constructive conversation. And we're going to discuss some topics that, you know, at the beginning I was like, we're not going to talk about COVID in this show, but I think now that we're 8 months in, it's kind of unavoidable. So we are going to talk about being a performer during this time, a live performer, what that is like to do that in today's climate for those that have. Carol's one of them. And, you know, the trials and tribulations and the emotional just vibe that surrounding that and whole entire, you know, production, literally production of trying to produce a live show, and then be that performer and maybe the stress and the anxiety of what that is to be on stage. We're also going to discuss on this show different cities and how they are actually supporting the arts, but music specifically. There's a lot of cities that have already chimed in and said that they're donating or they're basically allocating a part of their city budgets already towards the arts and music and entertainment and venues. And there's some cities that have been a little more quiet on that. And one of them specifically, I hate to say, is the city of Philadelphia, where my two guests and myself reside. So we're going to discuss a little bit about that. Another topic we're going to touch on, and I'm going to touch on this with Carol, is a little more of a fun topic. Pets. Carol is a dog mom. I'm a dog mom. I know we love our babies dearly. And, you know, what was that like being a person who's on the road all the time and having to go out of town? What do you do with your beloved fur child? And now that you've been home for 8 freaking months, what are you going to do to retrain your pet when you have to go back on the road? Because I'm already feeling the whole angst of what that's going to be, because I know that our dogs personally have gotten real used to us being home all day, every day, and when we do have to leave, it's turned into a thing. So those will be some of the current events that we're going to touch on tonight, and I would love for you guys to also chime in at some point, so don't forget to do that. So Carol, I'll introduce her formally. She is an amazing, talented vocalist who most recently worked with Miss Patti LaBelle and has been featured with R&B artists such as Jill Scott, Anthony Hamilton, Kindred, and Jeff Bradshaw. She's also a podcast creator, the Recording Academy, which is the Grammys, Philadelphia board trustee, and she is also a member of the City of Philadelphia's Music Industry Task Force, along with myself, and she's a dog mom, which I already mentioned. So, without further ado, let me click in Carol.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you guys pop up. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, y'all.
So Carol and I, we've known each other for what, about 7 years or so now? Five, 6, 7?
Yeah,
at least,
yes. Something like that. That's so funny. That's crazy. That's when you know it's real. When you don't even know how long it's been. You don't know how long you've known each other. It's like we've just known each other for a long time.
And I'm so proud to call us best, friends and colleagues, both of those things.
Yes.
I've been watching you from afar,
Oh,
and for whatever that's worth, let's just jump right into that. I mean, I've seen that you've been doing some shows, and
yeah.
um, I can't imagine, you were talking a little bit online about, the emotions that you've had because of like, not doing shows for maybe 5 or 6 months and then kind of like jumping back into it and what
Yeah.
that was like. And I noticed that you did do something with Miss Patty LaBelle. Was recent, right? Or
I
with,
did. I did. No, that was. It was recent. It was.
and
Yeah,
how was that?
uh, awesome. That's a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
She is one of those artists that you only dream of working with or even being in the presence of. You know what I mean? So, hey
Yeah.
you, hey Ronan. But so that just being able to be in the room with her, I felt like a little kid all over again. I was soaking up, all of her energy, all of her essence, and just watching her approach to, her run her machine. That's what I call it. But just watching her approach to how she runs her machine, and she is, everybody knows she's phenomenal, so I don't even know how to put into words exactly to have and understand like what that just felt like. Just to be able to sing with her, like to be in the room with her, but to sing with her too. So that was awesome. That was
Yeah.
awesome. And you know, I'm glad you did mention about doing the shows that I've been able to do in the more recent past, because I want to, and I'm so glad that I'm getting to say this here, because you guys know I'm one big teardrop. I'm like the most emotional person you probably will know, because I'm just passionate about everything. But when I post, posting is the hardest thing for me. Let me just say that. But when I do post, it's because I'm sharing with you guys, and I always feel like I need to explain that, because I know how sensitive we all are as creatives, number one. But I know in addition to that, there is a level of sensitivity that we are all feeling, because we're all in this together with this madness that we're living. But I know how social media can affect us too. I know that a lot of my friends, a lot of my family, a lot of people that I know are not working right now, are not able to work right now. And God only knows, you know, when we'll all work again. I have one show tomorrow that, who knows, may be my very last. Well, it will definitely be for this year, because everything is shutting down. But I want to be clear that I'm in no way ever being boastful, that I'm just sharing, the love and just the feeling that I have of feeling privileged and honored to be able, because I know we all share that. I know whenever any of us get the opportunity to do the thing that we love to do and the thing we've been called to do, that, we all feel it to be a privilege and an honor.
I'm
So I just
I
wanted to
couldn't have
share.
said that better, and I feel the same way because especially, I can relate to you. It's always like you're posting stuff about yourself, and even though you as a performer, or I
Mm.
right now I'm a host, which is sometimes weird for me because I'm more of a behind the scenes person.
But
So,
I love
we're
it.
all our own worst critics, and then you're like,
Right.
I want to tell people what we're doing, but does that
I
make me look
know.
like I'm trying to gloat about what
Pretentious.
I've got going on? Yeah,
Steph, it
yeah,
makes it, yeah,
totally.
because
And I
I'm
think that,
I'm so sensitive. I'm sorry.
well, you know what? Don't worry, because I think that for someone like me who's not a performer, I am so encouraged by seeing folks like you on stage doing stuff, even in these times when you know that you're taking a risk, to
Yeah.
even do it in the first place, and that you even had the opportunity, because we're seeing less and less and less in that of that. And I feel like, there's going to be less of it as we get through this winter season across the country, let
Yeah.
alone in our neck of the woods. And so I think
Yeah.
that it's going to be encouraging versus how we feel in our own heads, especially as women.
Yeah.
Sometimes
No,
too,
yeah.
talking about these things and saying, look at me, look at what I'm doing. And it's, we think that, but I think other
Yeah.
people aren't perceiving it that way. So
I'm praying that because
that's my two
sometimes,
cents. But what do I
yeah.
know?
Hey, Eric. But no, no, no. I am hopeful and prayerful that what you just said is their perception and their takeaway. Because I know I get to say it when I'm in person, but the number of people that were able to have come out has been diminished so greatly that I just want everybody to know. I do truly, I know and understand that we are all in this together. So we're all feeling the same pains and aches, and we're all having some of the same anxiety, and we're all dealing with the same thing. So I know I'm in here smiling and I'm singing and I look, but and that is because I do know that God is in control. So that is the reason for that. But the other part of that is that I am human too. So I have these moments, where I give in to the sadness that I feel about this chaos and madness in which we're living, through which we're living right now. So, but I try to come on and do some check-ins every now and again, like y'all good,
No,
y'all
that's good. I think everybody needs that right now, no matter how you can do it, and if it's
Yeah.
just virtually, then, that's enough. I mean, it's just, it's something that's hard for everyone. And, thank you for being someone that even took a chance during these trying times to do the shows that you did. I saw that you did some down in Cape May. And
We
I think
did.
you also you participated in the Exit Jazz Festival down there on top of some other performances that you did throughout the summer, which is really great. So, um, you know, thank you for
We did.
even taking a chance and doing those shows.
Steph, you know how it is. I want to say thank you to those that came out. Thank you to those of you who wanted to come out, because I know how difficult a decision that is, even considering coming out. And as performers, as creatives, myself, the band, and everybody else, the staff, everybody involved, it was a huge decision. As you know, because I've been telling everybody I refuse to live in fear. I will never do that. But I have been cautious. I've been extremely cautious. So much that I go to get tested quite frequently because because I've been out. I'm not, we are not allowed to do meet and greets or anything like that, which is perfectly understandable and not something that, I think we should do. But at the same time, we are sharing space. So I've been trying to be careful because not only do I not want to be infected, I don't want to infect someone else. So I'm trying to do my part and be responsible too. Hey, cuz, knowing that if I'm going to be in your space, know that I did my due diligence, that I have been tested and I am continuing to be tested to make sure that I'm good, because I got to walk through the room. But it's such a like a six in one hand, half a dozen in the other, because the desire to perform is so great. The desire to do what we love to do and be who we are at our core is so great. But there's this risk that you have to consider. So that's the other side of it. Like, okay, so how big do you feel this risk is in comparison to how great your desire is to do what you love to do? So, but I'm grateful to have the opportunity again. At the core of it all, I'm grateful to receive the invite, to be able to do it. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
and I totally understand. We all have this desire right now to kind of fast forward and get to the next thing. I think everyone's so drained, but you're
yeah,
absolutely correct in saying that we've just got to get through this. And, you know, be responsible, because there is a
Mm-hmm.
light at the end of the tunnel, and
Mm-hmm.
just it's testing everyone's patience. But hey, that's life, and I think if we can just get through and come out on the other side, we'll all be better for it, and there'll be so
Yeah.
many opportunities. You'll be turning them down left and right. You know what I
I'm
mean?
going to pray on that. I'm praying. Yeah, my cousin says we got tested together. We sure did, cuz. But you're right. I'm praying on that. But what the one thing that I'm praying for even more than that is that we all maintain like some just semblance of compassion toward one another until we get to the other side of this. Because I believe we're in a position now to really, really, really go crazy. We all are, because we're all dealing with so much. Hey, Mitch, we're all dealing with so much. And I understand that. I realize it, recognize it, and I'm living it too. But I'm trying, and I'm trying myself too, to just maintain compassion, because I know we're all trying to do our best. At least I'd like to believe we're all trying to do our best. I'd like to believe that.
I
Yeah.
would too. I would too. So let's switch gears just a little bit, because I see we've got some
Okay.
peeps on here that I
Yeah.
know
Hey,
some of
sis.
them are even like West Coast and from around other parts of the country. So with that being said, I know that everyone's got different rules and regulations right now, but pretty much live shows
Yeah.
for the most part are not happening. And
Yeah.
we see these venues shutting down every other day, if not every
Yeah.
day. And some of these cities have come out and been like, we are going to put a budget aside for the arts, for music specifically. Austin happens to be one of them. Houston happens to be one of them. New York City
Mm.
happens to be one of them. Imagine that, of
Yeah.
all states, Texas, coming out with the help for the arts. I mean, no disrespect. I mean, they have some of the
No,
biggest
no.
music festivals, Austin City Limits and South by Southwest, and it's like,
Hmm.
you know, it's really great to see. And you and I know this from the inside out, because we both are elected members to the City of Philadelphia's Music Industry Task Force, which is deep
Exactly.
rooted in City Council and appointed by the mayor's office. And so, we've been fighting for years,
Yeah.
but now we're fighting even harder. And, what's your opinion on seeing these other cities come out with these $1 million budgets, while Philly, maybe there is $1 million budget, but it's for the arts overall, and it's super
Right.
small compared to what some of these other cities are doing.
Yeah, honestly, it hurts. It's painful to me. Because I feel like, our culture is so rich in Philadelphia. I feel like we have such a long-standing history with being catalysts for so many things in the music industry, that I would have to say that I just I feel saddened, deeply saddened, and I feel hurt, because I feel like it's not being taken into, the consideration is not there. Where is the regard for who we are, who Philly is? We've always stood strong with regard to the arts. We have always, always. It's in our blood. It's in the that we drink. So I feel slightly embarrassed, because I feel like I want to say, okay, so what are we doing? Did I miss the memo? Do we no longer care? Are we a part of the cancel culture now? Like, what is happening? I don't understand why the powers that be have not made it so, have not put a foot down, have not said this is who we are, because it's a part of our fabric. I feel like the arts are a part of the fabric of Philadelphia. You go anywhere, it's on our buildings, it's on the street. We have an avenue of the arts. You go anywhere in Philadelphia, and the arts are in front of you. We eat, sleep, drink, and breathe the arts in Philadelphia. So, how there was not enough consideration financially to keep the culture, to give to increase the health of the culture or maintain it in the city of Philadelphia, it baffles me, it saddens me, and it disappoints me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was on a call recently, and you may have been on this call too. I've been on so many Zooms, I can't remember which
I
is which anymore.
know.
But there
How
was
about
one
that?
that was kind of detailing that, Philly sports versus Philly arts, and that the city of Philadelphia generates more money in tourism from the arts
Uh-huh.
than it does for
Uh-huh.
sports, which is kind of surprising because, sports here is a huge deal, obviously. We're harsh
Absolutely.
about sports, just like we are harsh in our music world. We're the worst
Mm-hmm.
critics and the best critics all in one. But it was kind of astonishing where it's like, wow, they're dissing one of the biggest, imports, if
Mm-hmm.
you want to call it that, of finances that are going to, income that's going to come into this city, because we've always kind of been thought of as an afterthought. And even before the task force came around, I mean, this has been an ongoing problem with the city, and there's things that
And
have
it has,
changed, and things don't change overnight. But
but
it's
it's
like,
got to
damn,
stop. It's got to
yes,
stop. It really
yes,
has to stop. I don't know. I don't know
yes.
how to make it stop, but I'm willing to put the work in. It has to stop because Philadelphia has been the mecca for a long time, for talent. You know, you know this. We all know this. It doesn't matter in which genre you play or which genre with which you're familiar. We have so many talented musicians, whether it be instrumentalists or vocalists, that come out of Philadelphia. And again, I say it doesn't matter the genre. You can come to Philadelphia and find individuals that will deliver. And we have a reputation for having a rich history in the arts. So I don't understand why, the respect is not given to Philadelphia. Hey, see, Matt says that music is America's #2 export. Yeah, thank you, thank you. And I feel like there's a huge level of disrespect. That's what I consider it to be, disrespect. And I don't understand. That's what I don't. I don't understand, right? In this moment, especially right now, because music, as we all know, is universal. We're all healing one another through music. Like I said, I don't care the genre. Hip hop, gospel, rock, R&B, you name it, you name the genre, but you can tap into Philadelphia in any pocket in Philadelphia and be blessed, as we all know, and be blessed. So I don't understand. I just don't understand why the powers that be in the city of Philadelphia have not given that the same respect and don't hold it with the same regard.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully, we can keep fighting the good fight and
Hmm.
see what we can get done, especially now when things are kind of crucial. And I'll kind of send you off with this. If there's anything else that you want to plug, you said you have a show coming up. It'll probably be your last
Oh,
one for this year. So
yeah.
please do tell, and anything else that you want to tell our fine folks here.
Thank you. Thank you. So tomorrow, Thursday, the 19th, November 19th, I will be with Gerald Beasley, Aaron Graves, and Timmy Hudson at South, 600 North Broad Street in Philadelphia, where we are performing a tribute to Nina Simone, the late great Nina Simone, the icon Nina Simone. And it is, again, so South's doors are closing, of course, because of COVID, newly introduced COVID restrictions. So on the 20th, there will be, you will not be able to go in, sit, have dinner, or come to hear us. So tomorrow is the last live show for this year. And we have two shows,
Wow.
7 p.m. and 9 p.m.
That's awesome. Yes, I've been to that venue. It's an amazing venue. The food is amazing. I've seen
Oh,
video of you doing the Nina Simone tribute, and let me tell you, it will take your breath away. It's so good. You're so
thank
amazing.
you. Thank you. Oh, thank
Well,
you.
Carol,
That makes
hopefully once all this kind of gets on the other side of things, we
sense.
can share a glass of vino and
Yeah,
talk about how much we
or,
love our dogs. And
or some green tea.
I can't wait to see your shining face in person. I love you so much.
I
Thank
can't
you
wait.
so
I
much
know.
for being
I
on.
love you more. I love you
And
more. And thank you, Steph.
I will talk to you
Mwah.
soon.
Okay, bye bye. Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Bye, everybody. Bye bye.
Is it going? Oh, okay. All righty. So that was a really great conversation. We want to thank Carol for taking the time. She's always so articulate and on point with everything that is going on right now, and always with music and Philly and beyond, and all the wonderful things that she's doing in her career. So thank you so much. Alrighty, let's move on. The next few topics that we're going to get into, there is an organization which some of you may have heard of, called NIVA. It's the National Independent Venue Association. It was born here in Philadelphia because of the need to save our stages, which is actually their hashtag. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and the importance of trying to save these venues that aren't owned by big conglomerates, and capacity wise what most of those venues look like, and what that means for a certain demographic of artists, and how that might change the industry. Hopefully not too much, fingers crossed. And we're also going to get into the production of live shows, which we touched on with Carol, but more on how do you produce a live show right now, and what are some of the precautions that you never would have thought of before. There's drive-ins, there's come and sit in a square 6 feet apart from people. The Flaming Lips actually just did concerts where all their concert attendees were in like hamster wheel bubbles, which is totally insane, even though I've seen them do that before COVID. And we're going to talk about some of the big entities that are trying to save venues. One is an ex-Warner executive. He is putting together a $75 million partnership bailout, which sounds good, but that means that venues have to give up 51% of their ownership to actually take that bailout, which means you're pretty much selling your soul to corporate America to keep your venue alive. There's a lot of opinions about that. There's another organization called Big Neon, which is just had an article in Billboard this week, I think it was this week or last week, about saving stages through sponsorships. They said they've been working on this initiative for the last 6 months, so it's not something they just did overnight. And then Billboard finally announced it for them, about where they're basically acquiring money from big brands and then dumping that into sponsorships for venues to save them. So it's kind of a two-tiered theory, if you will, on saving venues. And it's like, at this point, who knows how that's going to pan out. So let's shout out some of the fans. I see people from all over, and I can't say enough that thank you for tuning in. This is our first show. Thank you for bearing with us. Without you guys, we don't have a show. And quite honestly, like, if no one cares, then we won't keep doing it. We're just trying to create something new in this time, and trying to have a little bit of fun. So really, really thankful that you guys are tuning in. Again, you can call our hotline, which is 267. Oh, I'm sorry. The hotline is off right now because we had our technical difficulty. So no calling in. Instagram only. If you want to join, please scroll to the top of the chat and hit your request to be clicked in. And let's talk about, have you been to a show either in person or online in the last 8 months? And what was that experience like for you? And are you having fatigue of watching shows online? Or are you digging that? And do you think that that's something that, promoters and creators and show organizers should continue to do? So if you've got an opinion about that, let's hear from you. That's what makes this show unique, is that we want you guys to have an opinion as well. And also, don't forget that you can donate to the wonderful Music Cares organization. During the show, there's a button that you can click to donate. I can't express how super important they are. They help anyone in the music industry out, no matter what their crisis may be. They help people pay bills. They help people rebuild homes. They help people buy new instruments. They're just a wonderful anonymous organization that actually is pretty quick turnaround for anyone that is in need. So please donate if you can. And let's see if there's anybody that wants to chat with us. Again, I think we're having like a, still bear with me here. I think we're still having a little bit of technical difficulties with some of these multiple devices we have here. So with all of that being said, let's continue here, and I'll at least start to intro my next guest, which is Jesse Lundy. He's also here in the city of Philadelphia. I saw Jesse click in, so I'll do a quick intro. And if there's anybody that wanted to chat with us real quick fan-wise, I'm looking for hands right now before we get into Jesse's interview.
That's not working for some reason, so just go into Jesse.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm really sorry, you guys. We'll get this worked out, I promise. But right now, for whatever reason, I don't think you're seeing what I'm seeing. I'm still seeing Carol frozen on my screen, and I'm not able to click anyone in. This is such a bummer. We're trying to get that worked out right now. So in any case, for the sake of time, let's keep rolling. So Jesse Lundy, he's a 25-year veteran of the music industry. Jesse's been doing consulting, working with musicians during the pandemic. He hosts a fake radio show on Mixcloud called the Gold Watch Radio Hour. He sells memorabilia online. He's booked events like the Philadelphia Folk Festival, which is one of the oldest running festivals in the country. And he owns and manages Point Entertainment in Bryn Mawr, and he's managed artists like The Breaks, John Francis, and he's even met the Stones. Jesse is also a member of the City of Philadelphia's Music Industry Task Force, along with Carol and I. So let's find Jesse and let's bring him in to chat.
You there?
Hey,
I'm here.
Are you there?
I am here. Hello.
I am so sorry.
No, that's okay. Let me shut off the video because now I'm in some sort of bizarre. Okay, here I am. Hello.
It's like
how you doing?
It's like, you know, when you would call into a radio station, you turn up the radio as loud as you can so you can hear yourself,
Right.
and they're like, "Dude, turn that down." It's like
I
feedback.
know.
Yeah.
My radio is. I promise my radio won't be too loud. You have my word.
All good. Well, thank you so much for joining us and putting up with, you know, our technical difficulties tonight. You know, first show, but we'll get these kinks worked out as we go along. But
Yeah, you gotta learn.
Hey, man,
you gotta learn. That's all. Yep,
and
I do know.
It's hard because too, it's like you know, we don't really have a studio. This is kind of held together with paper clips and bubble gum, if you know what I mean. So.
I absolutely do, and it doesn't matter to me as long as everybody can hear me. That's what we're here for.
And
it's not that much to look at.
Yeah, my producer here says yes, that everyone can hear you. So,
all right, good.
Alrighty, so let's just kind of dive into it. You know, let's talk a little bit about Neva, and you know, you actually, I mean, you've been promoting and, you know, been a talent buyer for 25 years now. So, you know, an organization like Neva that was actually started here in Philly, believe it or not, by World Cafe. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Hal Reel and Kerry Park are absolutely deeply involved in heading the charge up. I didn't realize that they were the ones who started it. You know, that's pretty impressive, and I'm really psyched.
Yeah, I've definitely heard about it from several folks, and
yep.
You know, I think that it's great that someone took the initiative to even get something like that started in this crazy time. And Rich, my producer here, is telling me that unfortunately we've only got 5 minutes. Is that right? Instagram's going to kick us off at 8. So I'm so sorry. We're going to try and get through this as fast as we can.
Let's go. Let's do it. What are we talking about?
All right. Let's talk about the shows that you've already done. I know that you had sold out events that were done COVID friendly. So tell us about that.
We worked with the People's Light Theater out in Malvern, who we have a relationship with, and they, because I think they were basically spending their PPP money. They were like, we need to employ our our staff. So they built a stage in their back parking lot, and we worked with them to bring in a sound company, and we hired some really great bands. They had an amazing lineup, and it was the first drive-in concert series in Pennsylvania ever, so we were really psyched about that. Started small, just like, I think it was maybe 30 cars, and by the end of it, they got it up to 50 cars safely. Everybody was happy. Everything worked the way it was supposed to. My biggest concern was that the air be moving on the stage, which it was. I didn't want stagnant summer air on that stage. So they had just basic fans up there, keep the air moving. Everybody was happy. Everybody was safe. And the show sold out. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, man. I saw pictures of that and I was like, this looks fantastic. I wish it wasn't sold out. I would have went, but it seemed like it sold out really quickly. Honestly, like,
well, look, go ahead.
No, honestly, it was like, as I knew about it, was already sold out. So that's a great problem to have.
Yeah, a lot of those shows went really quickly, and look, people are starved for it. This is the only way they're going to really, I suppose, ethically be able to get it right now, and so it was really great. It was really something, and hopefully, what we're seeing next summer is an expanded version of that. If we're not back indoors by then,
Yeah,
that's what we all want. That's what we strive for.
Don't we all?
I know.
Well, I'm sorry, with the sake of time, let's just quickly, you want to plug your radio show?
Oh, right. Well, just to say that to keep myself entertained here during the pandemic, the first thing I did was cataloged all of the memorabilia and stuff that I collected, doing concerts for this long, as an alternate stream of income beyond just unemployment, because our industry it's just on ice. And that's why, like you mentioned, Neva, and like Carol mentioned, looking for that municipal, city, state, federal support that's going to keep, people alive. If you can imagine, I'm not going to cry for myself, but if I was a sound person or a bartender or whatever, a marketing person, and the bottom drops out like this, there's really not a strong safety net in the music industry unless you've built one for yourself,
Yeah.
So you talk about NEVA. There's an organization right here in Philly called Pivot, which is Philadelphia independent venues organizing together, that Kerry and Hal Reel, that we talked about from World Cafe Live, are heading up. And the people out in Pittsburgh at Drusky Entertainment, Brian Drusky and Adam Valen, are doing a terrific job actually talking to politicians. But what you brought up at the beginning of this is the most important thing. And anyone who asks the question, here's the facts. 90% of music venues will be gone soon. And that doesn't mean, I'm not talking about the Fillmore or the Spectrum, or not the Spectrum, the arenas and stuff. I'm talking about places like Boot and Saddle, places like Bourbon and Branch that are gone already. They're gone. That's it. There's no money left. This is not a get-rich situation in the music industry. So when people ask what they can do to support, please go to saveourstages.com, and you'll be able to talk directly or send a note directly to your lawmakers, or the ones that are deciding on this. The concert industry is disappearing behind beauty parlors, restaurants, and I'm not knocking any of those businesses, but we're not being taken seriously at all. And you're going to see a big difference if we come out the other side of this and there's 2 venues left in Philadelphia. You're not going to, you know what I mean? So if live music is important to you, please go to saveourstages.com and do what you can there,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like, you don't want, and every major city is going to look just like it. It's not just Philly, everywhere across
That's
the
right.
board. So it's really, really scary to see that, because where does it leave some artists that, aren't arena bands? They're successful playing 1,500 capacity, 3,000 capacity venues for 10 years. So what happens when those venues go away? It's just kind of mind-blowing.
Well, it's up to, well, what we're all getting used to, and the new normal that the president would like for us to normalize, is just, it doesn't matter. No one cares. It's fine. It's fake. QAnon, OANN, all this stuff. It's insanity. It's total insanity. And if you're not paying attention to science, and you're not listening to rational people, you really, I just, good luck. You know what I mean? Good luck to you, you know?
Yeah.
But all that said, what you brought up, I'm trying to keep myself and everyone else entertained. So if you go to mixcloud.com/Jesse Lund, JESSELUN, that is my fake radio show. And that's what I'm doing creatively. I can't play music with my friends. I can't go to anywhere. I can't go to shows, can't go anywhere. So I made a fake radio show. I think it's pretty good.
I hear you.
That's my pitch. Yeah. And also to say that the other thing you brought up at the beginning, which is that I am doing consulting work with a lot of artists right now, because so many acts have no idea what to do. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers either, but, you know, I'm working on a project right now with my friend Maggie Polis, who is, she runs Mixtape Media, their publicity company. And we're working with John Fay and the Caulfields. And there's an exciting Caulfield development, which we will find out about soon. And everybody who was there, Steph, I imagine you were there when the Caulfields was happening, and we're going to do some stuff with them in the beginning of December. So definitely go and check that out, John Fay, the Caulfields. But it's been really great for me to keep connected with a lot of the musicians that I'm friends with. Just, you know, spend an hour on the phone, hashing things out, coming up with some new ideas, you know what I mean? Try to find ways to implement a good idea. And that's what's been keeping me busy during I always say holiday, but during the worldwide pandemic.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's like, you know, it sucks, but in some ways it's kind of cool because new creative things are coming out of the box that no one would have done because they didn't have the time before.
Yeah.
And, you know, in that light, that's the positive light, I guess, if you will. And, you know, whenever I speak at a college or something to a music industry class or at a presentation, I couldn't agree with you more because I'm usually saying, like, in this business, if anyone tells you they're an expert, they're probably A, lying, and B, maybe also trying to take your money, because as technology evolves, like, there's no way you can know everything about this business. So you're kidding yourself. And if you think you're an expert right now, you're overly kidding yourself, because no one really knows what to do and everything's new and all the processes and you know, reconforming and downsizing and, you know, terrestrial radio kind of no live and local anymore. So everything's really just the Wild Wild West. So.
Well, let me just say that, you know, you're absolutely right. And, you know, again, we have the benefit of technology to work with us right now so that you come up with a good idea. Hopefully you have the time to come up with a good idea and then find the people that you can work with to make them happen. That's the ecosystem that we're dealing with right now. It's not me paying you to play a gig. It's us paying a videographer or somebody to edit a podcast or somebody to do something to keep your presence in the world out there. You know what I mean? So, you know, hopefully the investment you make in what somebody else's skill set brings to that innovation is how this ecosystem is going to work. It's all artists supporting artists ultimately, and that's what's important. Right?
Yeah, without the artist, we don't have jobs. So
that's right. That's right.
Got to start
without
there.
Artists. My skill set was, at this point, after 25 years in the concert industry, I could be a delivery guy for Pizza Hut if I wanted to do that, right? I could work in a chapeau shop, right?
Yeah, totally. But you do have a kick-ass cover band, which I've seen when you guys covered the Black Crowes at Milk Boy. And I know you guys also cover the Stones too. And man, you put on one hell of a show. So at least you got that going for you.
I did. Were you at Ardmore for the Black Crowes show? Did you see that? That was a heck of a night, man. That was awesome. That was an awesome
I definitely
night.
saw you guys at Milk Boy. Maybe that was the Stones cover.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I had it mixed up.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We did a Black Crowes thing at Ardmore Music Hall for the 25th anniversary of Southern Harmony Musical Companion. And at Milk Boy, what you saw was it was either the Jesse Lundy band doing the Some Girls record, or I played there with Dead Flowers doing a Stones set with them. And there was a Black Crowes band on that bill, but I didn't play with that Black Crowes band.
That was it. That's why I was
Mm-hmm.
combining the two, but I knew, and that's one of my, that is my all-time favorite Black Rose records, or album, I should say.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, boy,
totally.
we did it at Ardmore with all sorts of special guests and stuff. It was just so tremendous. What an honor to play those songs, man. That's rock and roll right there.
Yes, sir. Sure is.
Mm-hmm.
We don't hear a lot of
Mm-hmm.
records like that anymore, but who knows, what the future of rock will bring.
Well,
Well,
yeah. Now, mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, Jesse, I'm so sorry that we had these technical difficulties.
No worries, man.
And, I'm also really sorry to everyone who's watching. Thank you for sticking with us during this. We will work it out. It'll get better. This is our first show, and you guys can talk as much trash as you want. If you want to hit us up through Tri-State Indian, let us know. What you'd like to see down the road, what else we could mix into the show. We're willing to any type of interpretation, because again, without you, just like without artists, without you guys watching, we don't have a show. So it's not about what I think that we should talk about. It's realistically about what you, the fan, wants to hear about and discuss. So Jesse, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet.
Sure, I will talk to you, sooner than later, since we run in some of the same circles. And thank you for all the hard work that you're doing and taking the risk to put on shows,
Yeah.
even though it's been challenging, to say the least. And the next show, I should mention, is going to be on December 2nd. So the show will always be on a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, every other Wednesday. So the next show is on December 2nd. We always like to mix things up, so there will be different hosts. You always won't have to look at me, thank God, because we're trying to mix circles and broaden our reach. So we'll have different hosts in the music industry. And Mitch Beer, who I mentioned earlier, he is a co-producer of this show. And I'm sorry, Mitch, that we couldn't bring you on. I was trying to bring him in so he could talk a little bit about himself. One of his confirmed guests he has, which I'm going to save for now, and we'll just make those guest announcements later. So stay tuned for that. And please join us again. Hopefully things will be a lot smoother the second time around, and we'll actually click some of you folks in, and you get to, give us your opinion, man. So this is Steph here signing off for the first episode of Asses and Seats. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you soon. Stay safe out there.